What is up, Jags fans? We are here live previewing the Jags and the Lions. Man, I am glad that you guys are here because I'm glad to be here. If it's your first time here, this is a fan show where we just talk about the Jags, and it's a good time. So we do live shows Tuesdays and Fridays at 9 p.m., and the Friday night shows are my personal favorite because not a lot of pressure to break down film. We can just talk about the opponent that's coming up. Before we get into that, make sure you follow the Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. I'm more active on Twitter, but I'm getting better at Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you know when we do surprise shows. We do surprise shows from time to time. Tomorrow, I think we have a surprise show planned. So not much of a surprise, but be looking out for that. Fan forum. Get your comments in the chat. I try to hit as many comments as I can. I try to make this very interactive for all Jags fans. So any thoughts about the Jags, put into the comments. I will definitely try to hit them. Shay is the first channel member in the comments, so I got to give him a shout out. Shay says Duval, and I love talking to Shay on Twitter because Shay has a very valuable and insightful position when it comes to Jags comments. So glad you're here, Shay. Let me know what you think. I liked all of your comments on Twitter. So let me know what you think about the Lions and what do you think the key will be. Shay will be able to map out what this show is going to be before it happens. So be looking for that. Jason Trent fan was the first one in the chat. I try to shout out the first person in the chat, but it is a troll account, so I don't know what to do. So shout out to Jason Trent fan. Malik Washington says, yo. CF Coaster says, go Jags. Joseph Drawbode. I almost forgot. I wanted to start the show with this. On Twitter, I'm going to be putting out these shows and more on Spotify and stuff as podcasts. I found out I can do it for like $10 a month, so I figured why not? People are always badgering me about not being a podcast and something they can find on Spotify. So we are going to convert the audio and maybe do some more episodes and put it on Spotify for all you people that like to just turn something on and then do whatever. I get that. I'm that type of person when I'm doing yard work or going to the gym, things like that. So it will be on Spotify. Be looking on Twitter and Instagram. We will be putting out the link for that so you can follow it as a podcast in case you miss it and want to listen to it that way. Zach is whack says, what's up, fellas? Zach is pumped. The Great Mistake Bozos is pumped. Caleb Williams looking so good. I'm going to have to pull that game up at some point on my phone. Jaggernaut says, dude, let's go Jags United. And with the exclamation points, I'm that pumped. I'm super pumped. This is like, this is a great game because the Lions are very similar to us. Very similar. So this is like the first game where the Jags are playing a team where we're really going to see like a punch, knockout, scrubby fight. It's going to be good, man. It's going to be good. Can't wait for that. We have a couple play film clips loaded up to show what I would be worried about if I were the Jags coordinators / coaches. I think the D coordinators have a little bit to worry about, especially when it comes to, I don't know why, but Detroit has this like ability to create defensive passing interference and defensive penalties and turnovers. Like the Lions defense does not get enough credit for what they do. And the stats don't back it up. But I'm telling you, when you look through what's happened in all their games they've played good opponents and they've all been close. I mean, their schedule, I was looking at it, Bills, Giants, Bears, Packers, Dolphins, Cowboys, Patriots, Seahawks, Commanders, Eagles. I mean, that's a really, really tough schedule. Like all of those teams are good besides the Patriots and the Commanders and the Seahawks, but they played well against the Lions. So it was just, they've had a brutal schedule. But yeah, for sure. Going to be interesting. Let's see. We have Nick Ludwig says, go Jags, baby. Daniel Schroeder says, good idea. Please don't yell. Says podcasts are back. Let's go. Please don't yell. That's Noah. He has a great YouTube channel. Hilarious dude. I'm sure you can click on his username or you can search it on YouTube and you can find his channel. Go follow it. He's very funny. Big Jags fan. It's great. I ran into a Jags fan last week. Had a great time. I'm starting to run into more Jags fans and it's cool because I'll be out with friends and they'll be like doing whatever. And then someone comes up like, hey, Jags, right? I'm like, yeah. And then we talk about Jags for like 2 hours. It's the best. It's the like literally. This is what a great side effect of this channel. So thank you guys. If you see me, keep coming up to me and talking to me about Jags because it gives me a social interaction out. I love it. Jags Nation says, would you consider drafting Clark Phillips round 2? Man, I'm not gonna lie, Jags Nation. I don't know much about college right now. You guys know how I do it. I spend the offseason digging into college film, but besides that, I don't know who any of these people are. The big name guys, maybe, but I will. What I do is I compile a list toward the end of the season, and we break down film of as many as we can in the offseason of those people. Tyson's legit top 3, not gonna lie. Tyson's good. Tyson's good. San Sesko says, we've seen the number 1 pick play like generational talent. Now Trevor has to prove he's consistent. It's funny, when you said number 1 overall pick, you're right, but my brain went to Travon Walker and the Travon Walker-Aiden Hutchinson matchup. Now, people are going to make such a big deal about who plays better in this particular game, but if you look at the whole body of work on the season, Aiden Hutchinson's had a more productive season. Now, that doesn't mean that Travon Walker was the bad pick there, okay? So a lot of people, like, hear me out here, right? I know Aiden Hutchinson's been very productive this year, especially in the month of November. I mean, he won Defensive Rookie of the Month in November. He's been good recently. But Travon Walker, I think long-term, I still see what the Jags see in him. Very, very athletic. He is very good against the run. I mean, he's a good player. He's getting sacks. He's getting holding calls. He's getting a lot of holding calls. A lot of people aren't giving him enough credit for those. Right now, I'm still on the Travon Walker train when it comes to these two guys. So don't overreact if Aiden Hutchinson has a sack and Travon Walker doesn't. Don't overreact. Jags Nation, Jags are losing 1 game for the rest of the season, and that's to Dallas, and we'll make the playoffs. Dallas seems like a team I feel like we could beat. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know CeeDee Lamb is really hard to cover. Their tight end, is it Schultz? He's really hard to cover. Dak Prescott just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and he did have his interceptions last year, but his ability to run, I mean, you have to be able to run nowadays, and he can do it. Hutchinson is the king of cleanup sacks. He was like that way at Michigan, so it doesn't surprise me. All right, I just have a couple plays here. I don't have a lot, but I do have a couple from the last few weeks. They do throw. Actually, let's not look at this here. Let's take a look at the PFFs here first. I used to have to defend PFF, but I feel like you guys know my spiel by now about PFF. It is what it is, boys. It is what it is. It's good sometimes. This is their offense. That's too fat. We don't like that. Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he's been their best player. 490 snaps, 292 in the pass, an 89.8 offensive grade. That's very good. I'd take that. Yeah, for sure. Penei Sewell, a guy that I really liked coming out of college, does not surprise me. Out of Oregon, does not surprise me that he's good. 729 total snaps. That's a lot of snaps. I mean, it looks like max. I mean, it looks like every snap. 79.6 grade. So Sewell, good player. Ragnow at center, been very good. And here's the thing, Jonah Jackson, guard. Like these guys, their offensive line is good. And not only are they good, but they can run the ball. So because they can run the ball, like this is the situation the Jags kind of wanted to be in, right? Like you're a team that can run the ball, so you can't just like sit back and play coverage defense. So that's what gives them the advantage here. And here's what I was talking about. Because they run the ball so well, they're able to do things like this where they just like do like a straight. I mean, this is a heavy play action. I mean, this is like whenever a quarterback, like think about the zone read, right? The quarterback on play action is always looking at the defense. He never turns his back to the defense. So a big thing in play actions is you sell it more, but it's riskier to have your quarterback turn his back to the line of scrimmage. Like, right? That's like these modern West Coast offenses try to avoid, right? But the old school, you can run the ball. You can do play actions like this. I mean, that's a heavy play action. Turning your back. Good drop back there. And look at this time. Just gets open. I mean, that's like that's tough to defend if you're worried about the run. So the Jags played well against the Ravens, I thought, against the run, and well being relative, like they gave up a lot of rushing yards, but they stiffened up when it mattered in the red zone, which I was happy to see there. Because don't get that Baltimore offense wrong. That was a heavy run offense with Lamar Jackson. I mean, that's the offense I would run. Like I told you guys that on the last show. On our Tuesday show, we break down film. That's the offense I would run, is that Baltimore, just run it down your throat with the quarterback, and the quarterback can also throw. Like, that's the hardest offense to stop if I were a defense. Backed up on the comments, but I'll try to get to them. Mark Cool Guy says everyone should have known Walker was going to be raw and Hutchinson was the better pass rusher, but Walker has way better upside. Okay, so that's kind of what I was saying. You're right. Mark and me are on the same page about that. Because Aiden, I mean, like people talked about, the cleanup sacks, that kind of stuff is gonna. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson's a high motor guy. He gets a lot of those cleanup sacks, tackles for losses, forced fumbles, which is very valuable. I mean, that's a way to do it. But then there's the guys like Travon Walker that are just like natural freaks, like Javon Curse, if you guys remember him when he came out of Florida. Just these freak DNs that are just impossible to block. So you were hoping that Travon Walker was going to become that. He still can. He still can be that. He still can. Don't give up. I mean, you can't give up on a guy. People progress at different times. Like, I still have a lot of faith in Travon Walker. I really do. Yeah. Clavon Chazon, I still do. I'm going to see him in a different defense. I'm excited to see Clavon. I mean, if he doesn't stick around here, I'm excited to see him get opportunity because he's an athlete, man. I'm telling you, he's an athlete. And you just have to scheme athletes the right way. That's what Travon Walker is the same way. And speaking of Clavon and our scheme, I totally forgot that Todd Wash is the Lions defensive line coach. I mean, they got a couple former coaches. I thought that Jimmy Smith was there or I thought Keenan McCardell was there for some reason. I don't know why, but Mark Brunell is there as their quarterbacks coach. They have some like big names on their coaching staff. Antoine Randall, you'll remember him as he was the Redskins at the time, receiver, kick returner, gadget type player. He's their wide receivers coach. JT Barrett, you remember the quarterback from Ohio State? Athletic, big arm. I don't know why. I really don't know why it didn't work out for JT Barrett. I didn't really watch him enough, but he's an offensive assistant. You remember Aaron Glenn? Aaron Glenn was a defensive back here for a little bit, but he played for a long time in the league. I mean, he was one of those guys that was able to stay in the league for a long time as a corner. And those type of guys typically have the career arc of being like insanely talented, uber athletic, or just extremely technical coming out of college. And then as they get older, they're just like start to use their intelligence and ability to read the game more. And then they can kind of play for a long time because they can anticipate what's going to happen. So Aaron Glenn had one of the longest career trajectories of staying in the league. And now he's a coach. That does not surprise me. I like their coaching staff. Dan Campbell. Who doesn't like Dan Campbell, right? It's just, you got to love it. All right, let's take a look. They have another play. I'll just show them in order just because whatever. Here we are. This play was is Goff just throwing an interception. It actually got called back, but it's a little concerning. This is a Trevor moment, right? This is that's Trevor's never done that. But you think about the 2 interceptions he had thrown into the end zone, like it happens, but this is just boneheaded, right? You're throwing that seam route, and Goff has been comparable stats to Trevor, but I think Trevor's been better, especially recently, obviously. But their stats are pretty comparable. Goff has a 63.7% completion percentage, and he's thrown for 17 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So pretty good touchdown to interception ratio. And the way the Lions offense moves the ball is very like methodical. Like they march the ball down the field. Like a lot of times I'm looking for chunk plays to show, because chunk plays are always more indicative of what you like to do on big plays or passing downs. But this team didn't have a lot of those. They had just like defensive pass interference, run for 10, run for 7, run for 1, run for 2. And they just always like they have a really good zone stretch play. Let me see if I can find it. With Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is look at this stretch. I mean, this is like now not great defense by the Giants on this particular play, but I mean they're gonna be heavy to the weak side of the field. I mean, you have an extra blocker here. So maybe that's the strength. I like to call the field the strength, which is like more distance to the sidelines. But I guess with the smaller hashes, I get it. But they're gonna run just like a counter. I mean, they're gonna pull guys this direction. They're gonna catch. See, look, the Giants are just overloaded to this side of the field. That's the problem. That's why if I'm the defense, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm calling the strength of the field. I'm lining up my strong side guy here. This guy maybe flips here. This guy flips here. And then now this guy is here. If you call the strength to the field, and then these guys obviously switch. And then look what happens on this play. The counter, now you're not B here. But I mean, they do this. They block well. I mean, you saw the PFF grades. They block well. So, I mean, they're gonna get their hands on you, and they're gonna get you off of your gap in your assignment. So you got to fight to get off your block if you're in the secondary. You got to scrape if you're a linebacker, and you got to get off your block if you're a D lineman. And they know that, but they had to do the same thing against Baltimore. Fat Boy Shot says, I think Aiden shows us what we're missing on the D line. Ooh, that's kind of hurts there, Fat Boy, because I think you're right. I really do. That does hurt though. Listen. I'm still going to back up Travon Walker because I think Hutchinson's going to be that guy for a little bit. I think Travon Walker has talent that could keep him around for a long time. I don't know. Maybe you're right. People cried when fans. This is Timmy Devil. Hey, Timmy Devil. Glad you're here. People cried when fans wanted to give up on Trevor after last year, but now people have already given up on Walker. Yeah, well, there a lot of people have failed here, so I get it. But you're right. I mean, people are quick to give up on Walker. Walker's just a raw talent, and he still is a raw talent. Yeah, it took Trevor a year too. Volkfang, channel member Volkfang, says 2-0, baby. Here we come. I love it, Volkfang. Jags Nation, every time I think Jags will lose bad, then they win. I don't know why. And every time I get my hopes high, they lose to bad teams. Yeah, they lose to bad teams. So their team is just unpredictable. I know. It stinks. But at least they're like being competitive in every game. Here's another situation of them being able to run that play action. Watch, here's the exact same thing. Okay, so this time they have the strength lined up to the field. I mean, this is it. This is just power football, right? This is the type of offense I would run. I love this ace quarterback under center. I know it's old school. One running back in the backfield, tight end. I mean, I love this right here. I mean, anytime we call this 12 personnel, right? 2 tight ends, 1 running back. Ace, we'll call this 12 ace because he's under center. This is what I would call it, something simple. But because they run the ball so well, they just bring everyone in the line of scrimmage. Look at this Miami defense. I mean, that's 2, 4, 6, 8 guys in the box. You got 8 guys in the box, and you're able to play action, sit in the pocket. I mean, this dude could have a picnic. This dude could have a cup of coffee, a cigarette. This dude he could sit back there all day. Look at his throw, though. That's kind of a good throw. Like, remember, Goff was picked first overall now. And it's not a guy, it's not a Mike White that the Jets are starting. I mean, this is quite the throw right here. That's as accurate. I mean, look how it kind of spirals back. That's a good throw, man. That's a guy who knows his arm strength, his trajectory. I'm telling you now, Goff 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Brett Zimmerman, what do you think the final is going to be? Oh, Brett, I am not one to lock myself into one answer. But I think it's going to be low scoring early. And then at the end, you're going to see like them score a little bit. So I'm going to say 17, like 25, some weird score like that. Low scoring. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think Trevor can be accurate. I think the offense can move decent, and it'd be low scoring because both these teams can hold the ball and the clock can run. They can run the ball well. So when two teams that run the ball well and play good defense play against each other, typically the game goes pretty quick. So there's not going to be a lot of possessions to go around. There's not going to be a lot of yards and stats to go around, I think. Could be wrong because both defenses are known as the weak spot in the offense on the teams. I know that, but it's just the way these coaches both kind of play, kind of conservative. Although, just with the play calling. Peterson's going to get crazy with it once or twice, but besides that, he's pretty conservative. The whole Etienne injury situation seems strange to me. I feel like there is more going on than they're saying. I saw which foot did it end up being? I saw one thing that says it was his foot, and then I saw one thing that said that it wasn't the same foot that he had surgery on. So if it was the same foot he had surgery on, then I get it. Especially when you're a team that's in the hunt for the playoffs and not like in the playoffs. Timmy Devil says, Wingard can be upgraded. We know what he is. Time to go. A lot of people love Dewey recently. I like Dewey Wingard. You guys know I like anyone that plays hard. Shay says, if the Jags get the win this week, it would be bigger than last week's, in my opinion. Let's be honest. This is historically a letdown game for the Jags, but I believe they can get the dub. This is historically a letdown game. That is well said, Shay. I kind of have that same feeling too. Now, here's the only thing that's saving me from those thoughts and that like thought pattern. Trevor has been playing on a level that we've never seen before. We haven't had quarterbacks put together strings of these games. Even thinking back to Bortles, right? He never like put together like work like Trevor Lawrence is. So this is giving me some optimism that goes beyond what I've seen in the past. If that makes you feel better, Shay. All right. Goff has 20 turnover-worthy plays. Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. Did not know that. If he has 20, yeah, okay. I'd like to see who quantifies that. But Brett Zimmerman says, I think our D will pick off Goff twice and force a fumble. I think he plays it a lot. I mean, they play it a lot closer to the vest than y'all think. I mean, he's only thrown 7 picks. Y'all realize that, right? And he's started every game. He's not like careless with the ball. 20 turnover plays, but he's only thrown 7 interceptions. So say what you want to say, but he hasn't thrown a lot of interceptions this year. Khalif Raymond is some receiver that reoccurring theme watching their offense. I was like, okay, this guy wasn't on my radar, but recently he's been kind of going off. Okay, again, this is another play action. Shocker. Another play action. Goff sits in the pocket. Khalif Raymond out of Holy Cross gets open. Again, the same thing I was talking about here, man. The Jags are going to have to just blitz, man. Get back to what they were doing early in the season. I know it wasn't working, but just blitz. You know they're going to run. I know there's downsides to this. I know you get out of your lanes on draw plays. I know that the screen game can kill you. But you know what Detroit's going to try to do. They're going to try to create these play actions where Goff can get a 5 to 7 step drop and hit a guy deep down the field. I mean, that's too much time. Again, another great throw from Goff, man. Like, again, so for the person that said touch, oh man, you guys can't see it. Okay. For the same person, here's the play. For the same person that said Goff throws a lot of turnover-worthy plays, look at this throw. This is a touchdown-worthy play. And they end up running it in. So it goes both ways. I mean, this is a great throw, great catch. I mean, look at that time. It's the same thing. This play was probably a little concerning to me. Again, in the Dolphins game. Like, all right, this play doesn't look too harmless to you, right? But, like, let me give you some context. This is 4th and 1. Last drive of the game. They need a touchdown to win. Like, this is it, man. Like, they need to score a touchdown. It's 4th and 1, and they run a deep vertical. I mean, maybe it's a corner route. It's a corner or a crossing route. I mean, I don't know. Someone gets there, but it's 4th and 1. Very surprised by that. Very surprised by that. Rayshawn and Cisco letting G-Jack behind them is frustrating. I want Cisco to be better in pass coverage. Yeah, so that play where Deshaun Jackson went behind him, that was frustrating. But remember, this defense is still kind of trying to click. They're trying to gel together still. Let's take a look at the defensive grades. You got to ignore these first couple. Jarrad Davis, like blue better for this. Jarrad Davis and James Houston, because they've only played in 12 and 5 snaps, right? So this is where you have to be able to look at PFF and go, all right, not their best player. Chris Board, however, has played in 100 snaps, still probably like a sixth of the total snaps, so doesn't really count. Let's get down to Aiden Hutchinson to be their top-rated player that's actually played enough snaps. 654 to be considered. 69.8. It's not a great score. So in theory, the Jags should be able to move the ball on the Lions. And I know I talked about how I think it's going to be low scoring. I know people are going to think that that's not true, but I'm telling you, just the way this Dan Campbell, the way he plays the game, man, there's not a lot of points to be had. I mean, you look at their this is like their rushing totals for where they rush by gap, right? And middle of the field, I mean, they're just textbook 32 times, 29 times, by far the most in the middle. I mean, they're running directly in the A gap. They're trying to hit you up in the middle. They're trying to play smash mouth football. And then when you bring down that safety in the box or you bring in that linebacker close to the line of scrimmage, you hit him with the play action, and you have basically one-on-one coverage deep down the field. And if your quarterback can deliver an accurate pass, you're good. I mean, let's take a look at what Goff did. I mean, this is middle of the field, 10 to 20 yards. Thought I'd change the color. 10 to 20 yards, middle of the field. He's 21 for 31. I mean, that's pretty good. 433 yards, a touchdown. His numbers deep out here. I mean, 7 for 14 in the middle of the field. That's actually pretty good for a deep ball right there. This makes sense given they like to run their St. Brown over here on the left. Yeah, I mean, decently accurate guy, but that's the thing holding back the Lions' offense is having a quarterback that can deliver it, at a more effective rate. Aiden Hutchinson, their best coverage player, but only 20 snaps. So, Brett Zimmerman says the Jags are also going to have to deal with former Packer Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is good. He's a good player now. Our back end coverage is sketchy. Rayshawn is physical at tackling, but his coverage in open fields is extremely poor. Cisco is learning, but he's out of position a lot. Yeah, you're right. Cisco is out of position. He doesn't really, but he really wants to be that box guy. I mean, he wants to come downhill and hit you, which I like a lot. He has that violence that you don't see out of safeties that much anymore. You used to see it more because the way the NFL was played, but Cisco has it. I mean, the way he wants to hit you, and that's really valuable. Rayshawn Jenkins wants to hit you too. They played very, very physical against the Chiefs. If you think back to that Chiefs game, one thing that stood out to me was Jacksonville tried to set the tone early of playing physical. I mean, not just the Cisco hits, but hits on the sideline. Like it was just very physical. You could tell the game plan was to try to knock the Chiefs out of their little finesse game, their speed game, by just playing real physical with them. And I like the strategy. It was a great strategy. It almost worked. So they have that capabilities. Covering on the back end, yeah. I mean, but look, any quarterback you give time to, they're going to be able to hit a receiver. Like if you give a quarterback 5 seconds, he's gonna hit a receiver. So, got to get a pass rush there. This brings us full circle to Aiden Hutchinson. Shay, do you see Jameson Williams having an impact in his first game? So I read an article that he was from Pro Football Talk that said that they expected him to play 10 to 15 snaps. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then I saw people talking about how Dan Campbell said it was a long shot for him to play. So those are the two sources I've seen. It makes sense that he wouldn't play because if he's not 100% healthy, you've already waited this long. You're going to take an extra day. But I think that he might be ready for 10 to 15 snaps. Volkfang, I think the Jags have the better quarterback, and Doug is better at managing the game and clock, just have to be as physical as the Lions. Yeah, I think they can be. I just talked about that. To be honest, I don't think our cornerbacks are bad. We just play press coverage every play, and that's a tough task if your cornerbacks aren't great. So the defense definitely played a lot of that early in the season. Press man. And I liked it, but they just didn't have the athletes for it, so they had to draw back into a zone. It limits you, but if you don't have the athletes, it doesn't work. So they play a lot more zone now, and that's where you're seeing a lot of this bend but don't break. Defense coordinators don't want to play that. Like, defense coordinators want to stop you on 3 plays and get you off the field. But when you don't have the people to run your defense, you have to just sit back and play this bend but don't break. Like, we'll give you everything short. We'll stiffen up in the red zone. If you mess up, we'll take advantage of it. We'll be looking for you to mess up, for a fumble. We'll be looking for you to have the ball careless or a bad throw. We're going to be looking for it, and then you're going to try to capitalize off those turnovers. But an offense that executes well, you're going to end up having to stiffen up in the red zone and try to hold them to 3. And that's what the Jags did against the Ravens. The Chiefs, they almost did it. A couple bad breaks allowed them to score, but that's just the situation that they're in. Shay said, oh, I heard he was playing. I just looked up, and it seems like it's more of a long shot. I don't know. Yeah, I tweeted because I thought that he was playing. I tweeted that he was going to be in his first game, again, off that Pro Football Talk article. So, Chris Mason, Chark will burn you to the bones. Chark has been playing good the last couple weeks. I mean, his grades aren't insane on PFF, but he has been very productive lately, for sure. DJ Chark here, 221 snaps, 60.4 grade. We can take a look at more of let's see here. Well, I was going to try to, oh yeah, here we go. All right, whatever. Who's stopping Swift, Lloyd or Muma? So it looks like Muma's going to get another chance to start. I think Doug Peterson did say that. And again, I'm fine with it. I think they evaluated Muma correctly in the draft. But if you did, why didn't you just take him in the draft and not take Lloyd? Unless they thought they weren't going to be able to get Muma. I don't know. UCF Jaguar. What's up, UCF Jaguar? In the chat on a Friday night. I love it. He says, I'm feeling very 10-7 tonight. UCF, that's what I'm talking about. Me too, man. Me too. Listen, I think that it's definitely capable. We can go on a run, but I don't think we will because I think we're going to slip up. I think the Lions, I want us to beat the Lions, but I don't know. Something about the Lions just kind of makes me feel weird. I can't put my finger on their offense. It's weird. I can't. Everyone's telling me their defense is bad, but when I'm watching their film, they're consistently getting the ball turned over on downs. They're consistently creating turnovers. They're playing physical. I think the defense is better than people are giving them credit for. Again, we looked at the scores. Jeff Okuda's on that defense. Aiden Hutchinson, Deshaun Elliott's good player. Again, another guy, Alex Anzalone, linebacker. I mean, he's grading out poor because his coverage grade, but he's a Puz. He's a Paul Puzzlesny guy. That's who Alex Anzalone is. He's Paul Puzzlesny on that defense. You're going to see him. It's going to remind you of Puz. And you're like, oh, wow, I remember when we had Puz in 2017. It's very valuable if you use him correctly. Mike Hughes, cornerback. Remember UCF Jaguar may know Mike Hughes, who he is, cornerback out of UCF. He's been good. So you have players there. What's ETN's availability? I don't know. Dallas is a home game, DJM. It is. Dallas is a home game, and those tickets are very expensive right now. Chris Mason says, GG, Muma. Jags says, ETN going to go off for 200 and remind the NFL that he's top 5. It does seem like that he is healthier than we all think he is. Like, he wanted to go back in. UCF Jaguar, I think Dallas is the toughest game. Terrible matchup for us, in my opinion. Yeah, covering receiving tight ends has not been our strong point, and covering quick receivers that can run underneath and through zones and again away from man coverage. Those receivers have given us problems, and CeeDee Lamb is one of those receivers. Chris Mason, AA is battery powered, but Jags will outspy him like last game. Okay. All right. I love it. Hey, look, I think it's going to be a good matchup. I think it's going to be a good game. I'm excited. This is a good weekend for sports. I mean, you have the World Cup tomorrow at 10 a.m. I know some of you feel however you feel about the World Cup. I personally enjoy the World Cup. I'm very patriotic. You guys know me. I love my teams. Jags, the Magic, the Avs. I'm a big Tampa Bay Rays fan. I'm a big United States soccer fan. So I did see a tweet talking about how, like, what if LeBron James grew up a soccer goalie and Steph Curry was like a midfielder. They had like Tyreek Hill, a wing soccer player. Derrick Henry was a defender. Can you imagine Derrick Henry as a soccer defender? Like, you're trying to these little guys are trying to dribble the ball into the goalkeeper box, and Patrick Jackson's going to kill me for not knowing my terms for soccer. But Derrick Henry just destroys like Messi. Like, what's Messi going to do against Derrick Henry? Like, oh, he's going to run past him. No, he's not. No, he's not. He is not running past Derrick Henry. I know you think he's fast. I know you do. He's quick, but he's not running past Derrick Henry. I'm telling you that right now. And then what? He gets destroyed outside the box. Like, what are you going to do in that situation? How'd you become a USA fan? So UCF, I actually grew up a soccer fan, and I played a lot of soccer growing up. It was one of the sports that my skill set as an athlete tended better towards, so I played a lot of soccer when I was younger. So as a soccer fan, I grew up, I'm a Manchester United fan, so I'm a bigger soccer fan than people think. We'd be goated if soccer was USA's number one sport. I'm trying to think of who. I mean, there was like the names on it were just cracking me up. Micah Parsons was a defenseman. Can you imagine Micah Parsons? Like, you're not. What are you gonna do in that situation? Oh man, it was good. It was good. I might have saved it. Let me look real quick. Oh, I have it right here. Lamar Jackson as a midfielder. Minka Fitzpatrick as a defensive midfielder. Trevon Diggs as an outside defensive player. Jalen Ramsey as like a wing back. Odell Beckham Jr. As a John Morant is the striker. Can you imagine if John Morant played soccer? John Morant would be the best soccer player of all time. If he picked up a soccer ball from the time he was born, his athleticism. Yeah, I mean that's a good team. That's a good team right there. Mexico and America soccer fan. Bull, says Timmy Devil. It must be a Magic fan in the building. Yeah, that's right, man. Tyreek Hill would be an outstanding soccer player. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Can you imagine just kicking it to him and he would just run? Like, you have to be onside when the player kicks it, so you would have to make a run, which is what makes these speed guys very valuable in soccer. Volkfang says, not to talk about him like he's a Hall of Famer, but Cisco's play style reminds me of Palomalu. He hits hard and he'd be trying to play with lots of anticipation. I see exactly what you're saying in that comment. I'm with you. I get you're not comparing him to the Hall of Famer, but his play style looks the same. I got you there, Volkfang. You're absolutely correct. The Great Mistake Bozo says Ramsey is washed. Man, Ramsey holds a record in my heart with more jerseys purchased for Jalen Ramsey than any Jaguar player of all time. So that wound is still a little bit open there. Great Mistake Bozos. Shay says USA set up to be great in 4 years at the next World Cup. And it's here. Miami and Atlanta will have games. We're definitely going. Definitely going to Atlanta game. I'm trying to think which one's closer. They're like both far from Jacksonville. It's like a 30-minute flight either way, but who's trying to pay all that money for a flight? Timmy Devil says, nah, I don't like the Magic, but I think Bull is up and coming. Oh, okay, my bad. I hope so. Cisco's a hard hitter, yeah. Micah Parsons would be the best soccer player ever. Speed, size, athleticism, leg strength. Yeah, I know. We would dominate. I feel like the rest of the world, everyone always makes these excuses for why the rest of the world plays soccer. It's traditional. Okay, well, croquet is traditional. Low-income countries can play because all you need is a soccer ball. Okay, well, low-income countries can play baseball because you just need a stick and a rock. I think the reason why the whole world plays soccer is because it's the only sport that can beat the United States. It's the only sport. I mean, besides obviously like Winter Olympic, Nordic sports. Do you think we'll be getting new uniforms next season since we'll be eligible? Probably. If I had to guess, I feel like these owners are going to, and we've seen, they're going to jump on any opportunity to make money. And changing uniforms is a great opportunity to make money. And the fans are happy about it. It's a win-win for everybody, so I definitely understand. What a horrible choice of jersey. I can't believe that, like, someone went to, like, ShadCon and was like, this is the jerseys. They're going to be this. And they're the ones that we currently have. Because they're clean-looking, and I respect clean-looking jerseys. But, man, they are incredibly basic. Those white and black ones look like we are a team that picked up jerseys from like Marshalls. Like there's nothing on them. Like there's no even colors. They're just black and white. Interesting strategy. Please don't yell. Says the jersey is arguably Tom Coughlin's worst contribution to the team when he came back. That decision had him written all over it. Yeah. It definitely did. They're just like, and like we've justified them because they are clean. Yeah, they're clean. And we've seen a lot of other teams have also like done some ugly jerseys. Like the Bucks is pretty ugly too. That even has more colors than ours, but that one's pretty ugly. Like a couple of these teams have tried to go to that clean look, but it's just is, come on, like give me something, man. Generic practice. That's exactly what they look like. Generic practice jerseys. like your school didn't have the money to get your colors and like logo printed on them. They just are the jerseys. They're the samples that are sent to the schools. Wasn't Josh Lambo a really good MLS player? I think he did play in the MLS or at some point or some level. He was, a good soccer player. Damn Stormtrooper jerseys. You guys are cracking me up on these jerseys. Dude, our jersey is easily the best looking. Okay, you like them. Bring back the 2000 unis with the current logo with the pearl helmets. Someone's been playing a lot of Madden. Custom jersey. And I like that. I think that's what I usually do too. Whenever I'm playing Madden, I think I do that same thing. I go back to the old jerseys, but put the current helmet on. Although, yeah, definitely. But Pearl, you're right. Good call there, Brett. Jags Nation. Those Jags jerseys was fresh off of eBay during Black Friday sales. Yes. Yes, those were bad. I actually like, this is Timmy Devil. I actually like the everything except for the white and black. Yeah. I'm a fan of the clean look. Like, you guys know I like white jerseys. I like white on white. I like the clean look. I do like that, but we're going overboard nowadays, man. It's too basic. Like, but a little if you would have put a little teal, a little bit, fans would have been okay. Like, you could have a dot. Couldn't even do that. He was a goalie, right? Probably nowhere near Ochoa level. Yeah, I think he was a goalie. I played a little goalie. You got to be kind of different in the head to play goalie, because you are just on a collision course for players at times. I know people like to get on soccer players for being dramatic and diving, and there's a lot of that is inexcusable, and you can't defend it. I will say it is more physical than people think. Okay, I'm not saying, hear me out here. I'm not saying that they're justified and they're flailing and flopping, but the game is, there are injuries at times where I'm like, ooh, no, that hurts. And people are like, oh, soccer players, they're flopping. I'm like, bro, did you just see? They were running full speed at each other and their heads collided and they're not wearing helmets. And people are like, oh man, those soccer players, they're diving. I'm like, I don't know, bro. I'd like to see you take that hit. Because I've taken some gnarly hits in soccer, especially when I was playing goalie. So if Josh Lambo was playing goalie, I actually respect him more. Grace Lambert says repping T-Dubs. Local Atlantic Beach men's clothing store. They have my favorite clothes. If I could afford to have all my clothes from there, I would. Timmy says, teal is our primary, so why white and black? That's a good question. Legend says they need to bring back the teal numbers too. Teal numbers were, yeah, that's spot on. Soccer is surprisingly Shay's saying physics, but I know he means physical. Although it is physics too. I mean, when we start talking about acceleration and, vector quantities and scalar quantities, a lot of physics involved, Shay. You're not wrong, but I know you meant physical. Playing growing up, you make a lot more contact than people think. Yeah, you do. Coughlin walked in and said, I'm just here because I don't want to get fined. Yeah, they're like, hey, Coughlin, pick a jersey. And he was like, this one. Like, oh, sir, that's the first one. You got to scroll. He's like, no, this one. See ya. Sea Breacher says, I'm so late. Sea Breacher, you are. It's okay. It's a Friday night, so you know the show's going to be worth a rewatch. Because Friday night shows are always for the boys. Did you like the gold implements on our old uniform? Are you talking about like the gold around the letters, or are you talking about the mustard gold tops? Because I love those mustard tops now. I've come full 180 on the mustard tops. The Bortles Thursday night mustard tops. I'm 180. I'm going to buy one off eBay. 100%. Teal numbers on black jersey are super clean. I know. Like, think of the Ravens color scheme, the way they do jerseys, but instead of purple, use teal. That's sick, man. And I'm old, and I know that looks good. Camo unis. No, Chris, not camo unis. Never camo. Never camo. Alex Ellis says, how about some blackout unis with teal accent? That's what I'm saying. Think about what the Ravens have done with their black and purple. Even the Panthers with their black and, like, whatever color we're going to call that. Blue. Keep the damn gold. Yeah, I know. Well, hey, man, it's been a lot of fun talking with you guys. Yellow Rasta says, unpopular opinion, I like the Color Rush jersey. It's about to end the show until someone came back with a Color Rush. Listen, we got anyone else with a Color Rush? Come on now. Listen. I'm pulling it up here. We're taking one more look. One more look before we sign off here. Oh, yeah. You're telling me? You're telling me? Wait. You're telling me that you wouldn't wear those? Come on now. Sexy. But put that on Trevor. Look at that. Look at those pants. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, boys. Look at who remembers this? Blake Bortles Marcus Mariota matchup. Man, wasn't that just like wasn't that it for the time? Old Marcus Mariota and Blake Bortles in their color rush jerseys. Oh man, what a time to be alive, boys. What a time. Oh man. Predator. What's up, Predator? I feel like I haven't talked to you in a while there, Predator. Where you been? It says, I remember in high school, me and a teammate collided heads. He rolled on the floor crying. I just stood there wondering what happened. LOL. Just built different. Maybe less brain cells, but different. Predator, me and you might be kind of close to the same person based off reading that. Josh Burns, bring back the baby poop color rush. And we just looked at it. Look at this. Oh, no, people don't like it. With a teal helmet, bring back the mustard. Corey T, sponsored by Bodo's Barbecue. Yeah. No, this is bad. I gotta show y'all this one right here. Take a look at this. Dijon mustard. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. All right, that's got to be where we end it, boys. It's got to be where we end it. Listen, planning on doing a show tomorrow during the day. So if you live relative to East Coast time during the day, we're gonna watch the World Cup game. I think me and Mike are gonna jump on and do a show tomorrow. We'd love to talk to you guys. You guys know it's always entertaining with Mike, so hopefully I can get him here. He always leaves me cracking up. He has great takes on football. And I think you guys will really enjoy it. So make sure your notification bell is on so you get the notifications when we do that tomorrow afternoon. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. You guys know it means a lot to me that you guys are here because I'm a Jags fan, just like you are. And I like to just kind of talk Jags, so I appreciate it. I'm glad we ended with that great note of the Dijon mustard jerseys. Hopefully they bring them back. Maybe those will be the new jerseys. Until tomorrow, I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to follow the Twitter and the Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm also probably going to do a little Twitch this weekend and especially over Christmas break. So make sure you're subscribed to my Twitch channel if you're into that type of video game thing. It's Jags_United. Thank you guys for being here. All the channel members, you guys know I appreciate you guys. All the commenters, you guys know I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow and on all of other shows. Until then,